Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We're here live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us today. I have to say we're really excited. We're launching today an inaugural interview series where we interview nonprofit leaders to understand how this pandemic is affecting their work, how also what kind of impact on their programs and services they're seeing. These are certainly very interesting and not to mention very challenging times for everybody. But despite this, we realize that keeping connected to one another is critically important, and keeping connected and talking about our experience really matters. Understanding who we are, our stories from the field, particularly as nonprofit professionals, really navigating through the complexity of what each day brings and having to make these adjustments on a daily basis. My name is Carolina Quesada, and I'm the Senior Program Manager of the Nonprofit Partnership, and we're very, very grateful to be able to pull aside Melinda Lankford for a little while from her very busy schedule to talk to us today. So before we get started, let me just say that for those of you joining us live, we ask that you go ahead and make some comments or ask questions for Melinda in the comments box. We'll be reading those out a little later on, and she'll be more than happy to take some of your questions as well. And after the interview, we are going to be uploading the recording of this interview up on our YouTube channel as well. So not only will it be accessible on Facebook, but it's also going to be on YouTube for you to go back and take a look. So with that, let's get started. Okay. Welcome, Melinda. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So go ahead and talk to us a little bit more about your services, the activities of the services, the programs that you're running.
Great. I would love to. Well, everything for everybody's changed. The normal services would be some of what we're doing now. Our food bank is always going. We always have our food bank where we're serving the homeless and the low income. But obviously we are also a community center here. And so we have community center programming for seniors, for youth, for families, for ESL classes, all different kinds of classes and things like that, which we're building up as we complete the community center we're building here. But all of that has been closed with the COVID crisis, and all of our resources, we've gone into what's called emergency protocol with the Salvation Army, which is kind of nice that we have an emergency protocol because we do emergency disasters. So it had a place to go. It had a system to go into. So we moved into that, which has pulled my job over into focusing on getting food here, getting the support we need to buy more food or to get more food, and getting that food out to the community in new ways. The great thing was that because the Salvation Army has an emergency disaster mode and protocol, we had money set aside for that kind of thing. So actually Captain Sergio, who's from Long Beach, when the fires were happening in Northern California, he was deployed with we have an emergency disaster vehicle. We took food and resources from here and went there. So now that those same monies that we would have pulled from something like that now get to apply to this as well. And so we had initial money to buy food when food was so scarce and it was stopped coming into the food bank, because we get most of 99% of our food on a normal non-coronavirus time is right. Donations, and from food finders, from local stores, community members, Boy Scouts, the mail carriers, all those kind of donations keep us running. Well, what do you do when those aren't gonna, the stores are empty, so those aren't coming in? Well, we had some money set aside that we could go to vendors and scrape and find that food out there and keep our food bank up, and it just has multiplied every week. The need has grown greatly, and we've been so happy to be able. We received funding. We just found out a couple of days ago from the Long Beach Community Foundation through the fund that they have for the
Great.
city, the disaster fund. And so that is just helping, because every week there's more and more families coming to us. There's more homeless coming to us, and they're more consistently coming to us every week. And we are also delivering now to seniors. So we have a senior delivery going out to 125 seniors tomorrow. I have volunteers over here preparing all those bags right now. And so that they can get through, we're trying to get them about 5 or 6 meals at a time that we can get to them, as we're taking them up into these big high-rise, low-income
Yes.
housing buildings, and using healthy volunteers, healthy young volunteers, that with masks, and being very careful as well to not expose any of those seniors to anything.
Yeah,
But
and part of what we intend to do with these kinds of conversations that we have with organizations like yours is really to understand what has changed, what has pivoted in
right,
what you do on a daily basis. And so what we're hearing is obviously just the need to produce more of these food bags, these food baskets, really try to really be there to provide more meals than usual. So
absolutely.
what has this done to some of the collaborations and some of the partnerships that you have enjoyed, and I think you've groomed and created over the years? What
Yeah.
has this time done for that for you? What are you experiencing now?
Well, the good thing is that a lot of those partners are contacting us because they have people that they're reaching out to, and they don't have food. Well, they didn't have the food bank because a lot of our partnerships had to do with programming,
Yeah.
and for shared science or whoever it was, for kids, for seniors, their senior programming, and maybe they don't have that. But now the need is great for everybody, so we've been able to step up and be that partner and offer them. Yes, we kind of put them to the front of the line in some ways. Not that we're going to push anybody, but at the same time, we give them preferential treatment because they know us, they've worked with us, we know who they are, we know that they are trying to take that food to those most in need as well. And so that has been pivotal too, to be able to continue on with those partnerships, and help them as they're trying to reach out and help their clients, because they can't do what they normally do by in person or classes or different things. So we're trying to help them with just some of the practical needs that they have as well.
And are these organizations that maybe typically they didn't have a very robust meal delivery program or a meal
Yes,
program,
the
but
ones that,
because of the need, they're
right?
now having to partner with you? Is that what you're
Exactly.
seeing as well?
That is exactly right. Maybe the food wasn't even part of their programming, at the time, and so they didn't have a stocked food bank, and all the vendors that we have, the resources that we have, the we have space, we have the ability to do that, we have the volunteer base to tap into as well to make that happen.
So it's really, I mean, you leveraged your strengths
Yeah,
and your ability to react quickly to the situation.
correct.
And you invited others to partner with you on this. And like you said earlier, people were knocking on your door already saying, is there a way we can work together on this?
Exactly. Well, and for my role, because it was so much on the community programs end, and Captain Sergio Garcia, our commanding officer here, pulled me into this, and is like, everybody goes into emergency protocol, and that includes your position. And I'm like, great. So how can I best? And he's like, get the word out, let people know. You have the connections with the community. Go tell them how that we're here, because he sometimes is so busy doing and running the food bank, with our staff, that I can get on these meetings. He has no time for that, right? So I can be the one to get on these meetings and let people know. So I'm trying to get the word out that way as well.
Great. So have you, in essence, also tapped into media outlets? I know that your social media page has been very active. Have you also been able to tap into some local media pages as well to get the word out?
Yes, trying to do that, putting ourselves on all different kinds of lists, our new hours, they're just additional hours really, so that we're open Monday through Friday at our food banks, so people can come anytime. Uh, getting that word out. We had Channel 7 out. I think it was Channel 7. They're all getting mixed up in my head, but in just different news medias, media outlets like that. And I've just appreciated different people who maybe they can't be out doing the hands-on right now, but then they're creating different kinds of lists that help others to find the resources they need. And that's been very helpful. And I've been trying to make sure that I'm updating those and making them as accurate as possible, answering questions about the Salvation Army in other areas too, because maybe you serve LA County, different areas of LA County or down towards San Diego or whatever, or Orange County, and I can connect people as well to resources in their area, the area Absolutely. Of the people they serve.
And that what you're just describing right now is something we've heard pretty commonly the last couple of weeks, where nonprofits are also have become like this hub for information and to yes. disseminate and to connect others to other resources, other bits of information that are out there. So many organizations have really had to pivot in similar spaces as yourself as well.
Right.
So you've kept the email chain going, right? The phone calls going. Other staff are also helping you with getting the word out on what's going
yep.
on.
Yes, absolutely. We're all working together. Nobody's in a silo right now at all. Not that we normally are, but just we are cross helping each other. If I need to, be the one filling a food bag, I will. If I need to be the one reaching out, I will, and vice versa of the other staff here. But we have definitely appreciated nonprofits and that we've been able to work with mental health and VA and people that maybe come here sometimes, but during this crisis, they might isolate. And then how are they going to know that we have food available to them unless the people that normally work with them are going to them and saying, did you know you can get a food box from the Salvation Army? Did you know you can get these resources there? So that's who we are. And it's good to be able to make sure everybody knows.
Melinda, earlier you talked about how you are deploying staff, you're deploying volunteers, so you're still engaging this core of volunteers that are doing this work. Talk to us a little bit about the challenges you've had to overcome to make sure that they're safe as they do this, and that also, I believe others that are awaiting these food baskets obviously are very receptive to getting these visits, but talk to us a little bit about the challenges you've had to overcome as you've had to get this cadre of helpers out in the community.
Yeah, well, the majority of my normal volunteers are seniors. And so I lost all of my initial volunteers, but I gained a lot of college students and a lot of young professionals who then all of a sudden found themselves out of work and with a more flexible schedule. So I had to change that, which meant I had to kind of retrain them because I already had a lot of volunteers trained. The Salvation Army has a pretty rigorous protocol for volunteers training because we are always especially when they're working with seniors, because that is the same as when working with children. Anybody who is vulnerable, a vulnerable child or an adult, we have a lot of training, but we needed, people on the ground going quick.
That's right.
So I had some that were already trained and everything, and I pulled those in right away. And then I've been actively working to get everybody else up to speed that I can. And then trying to divide some of our resources. So if somebody's just—
Looks like we got a little stuck here with the transmission.
Okay. I know you're stuck.
Melinda, if you can hear me, your audio and video is a bit stuck.
Is it?
There you are. There okay. You are. You're back. I don't know if folks out in Facebook land also experienced that a little bit. Apologize for that.
A little freeze frame.
Yeah, a little freeze frame there. Actually, this is a good moment to just take a quick pause and see if there are any questions that folks have on Facebook, any comments that have been made on the Facebook page. And I know we do have a moderator behind the scenes that is keeping track of of all of this. And so if you haven't had a chance to ask a question yet of Melinda, please do. She's a wonderful, wonderful resource, an organization that, quite frankly, the community has really rallied around everything you've done, Melinda, and these last few weeks now, we've been on several different kinds of training sessions together and convening sessions together, and you always make it a point to extend an invitation to collaborate with others. So that's always greatly appreciated. Melinda, I wonder what you perhaps have in mind as a word of advice or just some ideas to share around engaging volunteers in a new and different way. Because you clearly had to pivot really quickly. So part of the example you used is, you had to retrain, but you saw an opportunity in young professionals or younger college students who, because of everything that's happening, have a little bit more time to give. Do you have any thoughts to share on, pivoting in these volunteer spaces?
Yeah, I think tapping into resources. One resource I went to immediately was my church, the young people there, right? So going to another nonprofit and seeking that because church was closed and things they might normally do with kids or whatever, they're not doing those things. So giving them another opportunity, painting a picture for them, because maybe that's not part of their world. They don't know what's going on. They're just isolating because they've been, or quarantine because that's what they've been told to do. And so they're like, oh, I can come. And I'm like, yes. And you will provide masks and we'll provide gloves, assuring them of the security of what they would be doing. I had different volunteers ask, how much space am I going to have? How much tight? And so assuring them of that and making sure, yes, we're giving that 6 feet, and the space and spreading ourselves out a little bit differently at our location. But I think the biggest thing is just giving them a sense of purpose too. I think young people particularly, they have a lot to give, and they're not always the ones we go to right away, because the ones my age are the ones who, they've been, I think you birds of a feather kind of thing. And seniors are so reliable. They are just such reliable volunteers. And young people tend to have a lot they can commit to and then maybe overcommit at times. And so you don't tend to trust them, but they are really stepping up right now. I have been very impressed, and giving them responsibility and letting them run with it and letting them be that voice. Also giving them really clear directions. When we go to these senior living facilities, you set the bag down, then you knock, then you step away before they can answer the door. And you holler and you tell them who you are. At first they weren't identifying themselves as part of the Salvation Army. Well, no senior's going to answer the door if some random person knocks. So just even letting them know those kind of things and giving them good direction, and letting them as young people share that energy that they already come with. They have it, and they are just happy to help.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Folks who really have a heart to do this and really want to do something, they got this opportunity to really give back, and give back in a very real and tangible way as well, by way of volunteering with the Salvation Army. So Melinda, it's almost 3:00.
Oh, boy.
And on a typical pandemic day,
yes.
And sorry, I didn't mean to be so blasé about saying that. It's a very serious situation we're going through right now. But typically, what would you be doing?
So 3:00 is the start of our programming, our youth drop-in center, and so I would be setting up with volunteers right now, all seniors, would say 90% seniors, setting up for homework club and getting ready for the kids, starting to check them in as they're coming from school and getting out of school, and then setting up the game space and everything for the second hour, the music classes, talking to music instructors, all of that. We were just building up our drop-in center, so it's kind of a bummer to have, had to fall off, but the timing is the timing. We're just going to deal with what comes at us. So I am not doing any of that right now, but instead I'm working with volunteers who are sorting rice and beans into little bags and then filling bigger bags for seniors, and with all kinds of things, on the phone with you, talking to different nonprofits, seeing what's out there, trying to keep abreast of all of the changing information so that we can adapt to that and make sure that we have an answer, even if it's just an answer for somebody coming to the food bank who doesn't know how to keep in touch with that kind of information.
Yes.
It's going to help them with jobs. It's going to help them with different funding they can get, different opportunities. So that would be my normal day. But
yeah, still finding ways to connect, whether it is, ensuring that you are connecting folks and questions to the right resource. It's just right now, there's such a sense of urgency. And of course, the need to get food to people is very real. I just want to share with you that as we've been talking, Jill McCoy says hello.
Oh,
thanks for watching, Jill. And we've also had some comments from folks who looks like they have great tips for delivering other items for seniors as well. So if you can continue to add those comments in the comment box, that would be wonderful. I know that Salvation Army is definitely very committed to continuing the service to the community. And, what do you see around the corner, Melinda, for the work that you're doing, and how, these times will impact some of the services that you'll carry forth in the coming months and the coming year?
Yeah, wow. Well, as long as do you mean following the pandemic, or as it's following, there will be a recovery time needed with jobs, with businesses, with individuals, with schooling, the need for kids to catch up. I don't even know how the school district's going to handle that, but we are a support to them. And so we will be alongside of that as well. I think it will definitely, the need will stay higher than it was pre the pandemic. For sure, and our resources for food and toiletries and resources connecting to jobs and tap cards and different things like that, all the different things that we do out of our social service office will continue to be high, and this will have to have more of an emphasis for us. But as we continue to go back to, we had senior programming. I feel so bad that half the reason was so that seniors would have a place to go and be able to be out and mentally challenged and get healthy lifestyles and all that. And there's none of that right now. They're isolated. And so reopening those doors and allowing for that as well. I think what we did before is still a need. It will maybe be in, a 20% need versus a 40% need, but it will always be a need. And there will be times when we are just going to have to put more and more of our resources and our emphasis on just helping people get back on their feet, get financially stable, and get back to a secure place of functioning.
Thank you for that, Melinda. And we're really coming close to our time on the interview. These are short bursts of getting to know you and getting to know what you're doing now. Can you share with us any tips on self-care? What are you doing for self-care during these times?
Well, when it's not raining, I am on my bike, and my daughter's joining me because water polo, there's no pool for her to get into. So that's been fun. I also have a porch that has an overhang, and I've just spent a lot of time there so I don't feel cramped in my house or in my office. And just spending time, I'm a spiritual person, and so spending time in my Bible and my journal. I'm a control freak, so journaling it out and realizing I am not in control. I am not in control. Yeah. And acknowledging that and letting it go a little bit, and has been so helpful for me, because then I'm just not trying to hang on to all my plans. It's been very difficult to have planned so far out and have one after another thing canceled that I worked really hard for and I knew was going to affect people in a positive way. So letting go of the plans and focusing more on the now and what the needs are, and I still get to love people, right? That was the point of my job all along. That's why I do what I do, is because I love people and I want to help meet their needs, and I get to do that every day. So being thankful, trying to stay thankful and positive about what's going on, and looking all the time for the ways that I can help and join in what's being done around me.
Wow. Melinda, thank you so much. We've come to the end of our interview today, but we are just so grateful for your outlook, everything that you're doing, everything your colleagues, your team members are doing, and the Salvation Army. So thank you again. And if you want to get a hold of Melinda, you can go ahead and send us a comment in the box, and we'll be happy to share her email address. You're taking messages offline too and connecting. So thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Melinda, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.